Good morning, or, well, it's afternoon now. Welcome to Westminster's midday meditation on this Tuesday. We're going to read from Psalm 36, verses 5 through 9 today. And what I'm using is the Presbyterian Outlook devotional that you can find on our website. This devotional is for the Lenten season. So I invite you to download it from our website and each day read some scripture and read the devotional given over to that scripture throughout the season of Lent, and it'll help prepare you for Easter. So the Outlook meditation for today suggests Psalm 36. I'm going to read it. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your judgments are like the great deep. You save humans and animals alike. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. All people may take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life, and in your light we see light. And this is what the meditation provided looks like. It says Psalm 36 is a profound affirmation of God's unconquered, life-giving power amid the brokenness of our lives and of all creation. You save humans and animals alike, it reads. This affirmation is foundational for our prayers throughout the season of Lent. It undergirds the movement of our spirits that we discern, movements both toward God and away from God. It is important to affirm God's life-giving power, even as we recognize moments away from God, because it is especially during experiences of despair, fear, or anxiety that we need this psalm's assurance of God's steadfast presence. The promise of resurrection out of death is foundational to our faith as we journey through Lent toward Easter. I think that's a lovely meditation. I'm not sure I agree with all of it. As if our spirits could move toward and away from God. I'm more of the mind that God is within us and that we can never get away from God. Certainly our experience of God's presence, perhaps, can seem very intense in regard to that presence, but also be very intense in regard to the absence of God's presence, and I certainly agree with that. But I have the sense that, especially this last verse of Psalm 36, for with you is the fountain of life. I think the fountain of life is with God, and we are all abiding in it, and we can't get away from it. We can't move away. We can't move toward it. It is with us. And God is not so much in us as we are in God. And I love this last little phrase, in your light we see light. Now, in many religious traditions, this idea that in your light we see light is very important. Meister Eckhart, the great Christian mystic, believed we had a created self, which was our body, our thoughts, our emotions, our physical sensations. All of these things were our created self. But there was an uncreated self, and that is one with God and has always been one with God. And that is, as many religious traditions interpret, that is consciousness itself. In the Hindu tradition, they talk about where is God? Well, thou art that. Your consciousness is part of the larger consciousness, which is God. And so we are all one with God. And so these other traditions perhaps talk about it a little more deeply and a little more often than the Christian tradition, but it is certainly a part of the Christian tradition. And so the way then to practice being in the world and recognizing in your light we see light is to identify with the experience of consciousness and not so much with the contents of our consciousness. And so this is what meditation allows for. We sit and we become aware. We become aware of our thoughts as they come and go. Maybe we name them and let them go. We become aware of our emotions, which can certainly overwhelm us at times, but if we can step back from them and name these emotional states, we can watch them come and go, and they can, their grip on us can be reduced. And also, of course, our bodies, as we watch our physical sensations, we can move through our five senses in meditation and simply be aware of the taste in our mouths, the smell as we inhale, whatever odor may be in the room, what we hear. As I stop now, I hear some voices out my window. Or we can be attentive to what we see. Maybe we focus on some image. If our eyes are closed, or we focus on something in the room if they are open. And then finally, the physical sensation of touch and how do my legs feel, how do my arms feel, and so forth. And as we meditate and watch these this contents of consciousness come and go, we recognize that we are more than our emotions, we are more than our thoughts, we are more than our physical body, we are something much more. And as we hear these words, in your light we see light, we recognize that we see light because we are in God's light, and that God's light is in us. I hope you have a blessed day. Be well and be safe.